Hey guys, how's it going? So I'm gonna try and not bore you guys too bad with this video. So I'll probably just kind of show you one valve and then do a time lapse for the rest of the head. The Do It for Dale head, I've got those all lapped in and polished. I've got the seals on, and I just need to get the springs and retainers cleaned up and put those on, and this head will be ready to rock and roll. I went through and just kind of stoned some of the burrs. I've got to helicoil the exhaust bolts. That one looks like it's pretty stripped out, and then there might be one more that's pretty well toast. So I'm gonna go ahead and helicoil those before we put this back together. But I thought I'd go ahead and show you on this one. Like I said, I'll just do one of them. Just kind of show you what I'm doing. And then I'll probably time lapse the rest of it. But you can see all the carnage that happened on each of the cylinders. This cylinder is probably in the best shape out of all of them. A little bit there, but back in the back here is just freaking toast. And same for this one. I'm just destroyed that, but we're not gonna have any issues with sealing. We went way oversized on the bore, so the head gasket comes all the way out here, so we're not gonna have any issues there with sealing. And we decked both of them, so there's not going to be anything sticking up. And then the guys over at Lingenfelter went through and dug out any steel that was embedded in the head, because those will cause hot spots at the top of the combustion chamber. You'll get a hot spot, and you'll have this cherry red chunk of steel, and it'll start deforming the aluminum around it and stuff. So you always want to make sure you get all that crap out of there. But I mean, these things are deep. Like, I don't know what this guy did, but anyway, so let's go ahead and get to it on this one. We're going to get our Manly valves in here, and then we'll just start lapping and polishing. But let's get to it. Okay, so as far as lapping valves goes, we've got a few things we're using here. So we've got some valve grinding compound. This is actually more what you would use to clean up an old head. So let's say you got a bunch of carbon buildup in here, and you want to like clean up your valve seats without going and getting a full valve job done. This is what you would use. I'm using it just to make sure we've got a good contact patch between the valve and the seat. And honestly, there shouldn't be any problem there. Lingenfelter did a full valve cut, 3-angle valve job for me, and they did it to match the new valves. So when I did this one, I didn't see really any variation. I had a nice contact patch all along the valve. So that was good. I'm really just kind of using this as a confirmation, just to be sure, everything's nice and even. And this breaks down as you use it. So it starts off as like a 120 grit, and then as you use it, it slowly breaks down to like a 320 grit or something. Let's see, I know it's in here somewhere. There are 4 grit sizes in one application of the valve grinding compound: 220, 180, 150, and 120. Yeah, so it breaks down to 220. It starts as 120 and then breaks down to 220. So you get kind of a rough surface on it. And then I go back with some polishing compound. This is just mag wheel polish, and bring it back to a nice shine with the polishing compound. Anyway, so I got my Manly performance valves here. So here's my exhaust valves. And when Lingenfelter did my guides, they matched the valves to the guides and everything. I think they all measured nearly identical, so I don't know if it'll be a big issue or not. But all my valves are marked. And then for my intake valves on this head, we've got Dews, Not Brews, Mud Dudes. Dews, not brews, my dudes. So that's what we're rocking on this head. Do that 8 to, yeah. So yeah, that's up to it. We'll start this way, just so I don't lose track of the valves here. And then I use just a little bit of oil on the stem so that we get some lubrication inside the guide, so we don't chew up the guide or spinning these guys around. So yeah, let's start with that. Get my spacer blocks under here. Old cleater ought to like that. Old Cletus McFarland. Some Bartle Skeet. It's only 6, so 246. 2, 4, 8. That's it for my Manly boxes. Now for the lapping compound, we're going to put a little bit around the edge of the valve here, and then we're going to add just a touch of oil as some lubricator. And then we'll have to make sure we clean up the head really well when we're done. Otherwise we're going to have a whole lot of grit inside the head, and that's going to make its way into the pistons. It's going to chew up the rings and bearings, and it's going to be a bad time. So you want to make sure you get that cleaned up really well before you do your final assembly. A little bit more oil there. Put that around the edge. Drop that down. And then you might be able to hear this actually do some grinding here. Yeah. Add a little oil. Put this away for now. Alright, we're going to pull this out and take a look. And it's kind of all subjective. Kind of gotta get a good feel for it and just know kind of on your own terms when you think it's a good time to stop. There's no really, this is exactly how you do it, and if you don't do it like this, it's going to be bad or anything like that. So you just kind of do it your way and then see what works for you. So now, like I said, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this or not, but there's a nice, like, roughed surface from there to there. It's all consistent. We don't have any low spots or anything. And it's the full width of that face. So now we know that we have a good even surface, and it should translate to the seat surface as well. So we'll clean that up and make sure it looks about the same. Alright, so we've got a nice, even, consistent surface right at the top of the seat, and there's a distinct line between the contact and the edge of the seat. So we know that we've got a good mating surface there. So now we'll go ahead and try to polish it and see what it looks like. And there should be a difference in sound with the polish too, because there's going to be more contact between the valve and the seat. Let's see all that crap that I'm still getting out of there. So when we clean it, we want to make sure we get all of that out of there. We don't want any of that getting into the motor. Brush oil. gets to the point where it's almost like water on glass, you know? It's so smooth. I mean, that's pretty much what you want. You see how it turned black? So that's good. It's just doing work. Alright, so again, I'm not sure how well you guys are going to be able to see this, but now we've got a nice shiny surface. You can see where the first angle breaks over, cuts into our second angle, and then we've got our third angle. And just past that breakover is where we start getting our shiny surface. So we've got a nice consistent surface between this edge and just under this angle, and that's what we want. So that's what we're looking for all the valves. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock out the rest of these and just put you guys on time lapse, and then we'll come back after this head's ready to rock and roll. We'll get it cleaned up and start putting it together. Get our springs all cleaned up. They got some dog hair and stuff on them, so I'm going to run them through the ultrasonic, get all the dirt off of them, and then we'll get a little bit of oil back on them and get everything assembled. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and knock these out real quick. Alright, so we did the first round of polishing. They didn't quite smooth out as much as I would like them to. So I'm going to go ahead and do a second round of polishing on all of them and just try to get a nice shine. So that's what I'm going to do now. I don't think I'm going to record it because it's pretty repetitive. So go ahead and do a second round of polishing, and then I'll come back and we'll get this cleaned up and we'll get the seals on, and then maybe we'll start putting springs in and get these guys ready to throw on the motor. So stay tuned.